month, we are talking about when life hands you lemons. And we know that can happen in the photo shoot world too. So what happens when you are trying to take pictures of a family and the kids are completely unruly? You're wondering if you're even going to get a good picture at all.
And the parents are wondering the same thing too.
Okay, so let's dive in. But first, cheers.
Cheers.
So Anna, have you had a time where kids have been completely unruly? I think we've all experienced this if we've been in photography for more than a year, but do you have a specific?
Oh gosh, I have like a laundry list of times that has happened, like a really long list. And I think it's actually pretty normal because what kid really wants to have their picture taken by a complete stranger?
I mean, some do, but the majority probably don't.
A lot don't, for sure. So, but I usually can gain control of the whole situation like pretty quickly. But I will say there have been some times when the kid just won't stop and nothing works. And it feels like you're going to get out of there and have nothing.
Yeah. So one of the first things that I like to do is I like to talk to the parents. And I know because I am a mom and I have totally experienced being in a family photo shoot. My kids are not cooperating. And then it's like this blanket of anxiety comes over me as a mom. So I like to talk to the mom and just say, hey, I'm going to worry about the kid. You worry about looking at me, having a good time, and I'll worry about making sure that the kid is looking at me and having a good time. Because here's the worst thing. The worst thing is when the kid is being unruly, the mom and dad are trying to get the kid's attention. The kid finally smiles and the parents are looking at them. Yeah, it's the worst. And so if you just start off by saying, I've got this and I am completely capable. I've got kids of my own. So just let me take it from here. Then that infuses confidence in the family members, the mom and the dad. And it lets them know that you're going to handle it. They don't need to worry about it. So I would say that's one of the first things that I like to do at the shoot.
Yeah, I do the same thing. It takes the stress off. That also is going to make them enjoy their pictures a lot more. Not enjoy they'll enjoy the session more, but they'll actually like their pictures a lot more if they're not looking back on them thinking, I just yelled at my child that whole hour
if they don't have negative memories attached to those pictures. Yeah,
exactly.
That's
now, so that's how we sort of start off the session is telling mom and dad that. And then the first thing that I do is actually not even with my camera to start off a session. I don't know if you do this, but I actually start my session off with when I'm with kids of really just playing with them. And getting parents to play too, like just getting them involved. I usually will have my camera on so I can click and snap because that is sometimes when you get some of the best images is when they're just playing and having fun. But really just letting them get to know you because let's face it, like we are complete strangers to these kids. I mean, obviously my return clients know me now, but the first time that I've had them, I'm a complete stranger, you know?
Right. Absolutely. And so with my playing, what I'll actually do is I have my Pez dispenser in my bag and I bring out one of my Pez dispensers, depending who the kid is and how old the kid is. And I'll say, hey, I don't even have a name for this little guy. I mean, unless it's Ariel, then she has a name already. And I tell them they get to pick the name of the Pez dispenser. I put the Pez dispenser up on my hot shoe of my camera and I let them know if you smile at Ariel, guess what? Ariel is going to give you a treat. And so that way it keeps the kid looking at the camera and it keeps them cooperating. So, and also, I mean, let's be really honest, it's bribing them to like me. So that always works,
right? That works. Totally. Yes. The other great thing about that is I have had parents come with bribery and they come with like M&Ms or something like that creates like blue teeth, all this stuff. Pez is so clean. Pez is so clean. So they can eat a Pez and you won't even know it for the next image, you know?
Now, do I give a Pez every single smile? No. I let them know, okay, we've got to finish up this set and then you get to have a candy.
Yes.
And, you know, the parents are all like, they feel like that's genius. And sometimes I even give the dad a Pez if he's having a bad day.
We'll talk about that a different coffee.
Right. We sure will. Go ahead.
No, you go. No, you go.
So my next tip too is that if I see that a kid is particularly strong-willed, I actually have 2 of those. I know that strong-willed kids respond really well to leadership. And so if they're just doing their own thing and they don't want to cooperate, typically I'll pull them aside and I'll let them know how special this is for mommy. And I ask them to be my helper to make sure that we can get some good pictures. So not only do I pull them aside that one time, but I'll even let them choose their pose sometimes. And it's funny because parents are like, no, you need to just do this or just do that. Just, but for me, it's like sometimes those goofy poses can be the best when they can just have the freedom to do that. So I actually love to give them the freedom of choosing the pose every once in a while, looking at the back of the camera. And then when I'm getting mom and dad, because I'm always getting mom and dad as a couple, I like to say, hey, stand over here. Can you make mommy and daddy laugh?
I do that all the time too.
They are leading the session.
Right. And that also helps if mom and dad are not that comfortable together.
Yes. Because unfortunately,
that does happen.
That happens
sometimes,
too.
yes.
Yeah.
The other thing you said, letting them look at the back of the camera, I will sometimes let them actually put my camera over and take a picture. And only do this if you have insurance on your camera. Right? But I hold it and I'm coming from behind and I help them take a picture, but they love getting to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny because whenever I do that, I'm like, is this really a good idea?
And there are some kids that it's really not a good idea.
Right.
So I had that one bite me in the butt before where a kid then just never wanted to let me take a picture. I had to be like, now you take one. Now it's my turn to take one. But I was at the end of my rope with ideas for that. So it's like you sort of have to take it level by level. Sometimes the Pez is all you need.
Right.
Or sometimes just playing with them is all you need. But sometimes you've got to pull out all the stops because depending on the child, So.
I will say the silliness, if it gets to the point where every single picture they're doing a silly face, obviously mom is not going to like that. So what I'll do is, we talked about looking at the back of the camera. I will have them look at the back of the camera and see how their face is and just say, look at your face. You have a silly, weird face right now. Like, do you want this to be in all your pictures? How about we do a normal smile and then the next one we'll do a silly smile? Just because that way we get an array of different photos rather than them just all being crazy.
Exactly. Totally.
Anything else, Anna, that we have a lot of ideas because we do have children.
My last one that I do, it sort of goes with your bribery. Every single session I bring, this sort of adds to the experience for the parents. I mean, this one thing alone is just a really great thing to do, I feel like, is I have a session gift for the kids at the end of the session. And so it's a little goodie bag. Oh, I should have had one down here. It's a little goodie bag. You can't see what's inside of it. It's a yellow, it's like a really cute, I got them on Etsy. They're like little yellow bags and you can't see what's inside of it. And so they know their surprise that they get at the very end after I've gotten everything I need. And I can sort of like throughout the session be like, remember, like only 2 more of this or like do this. And then, so it's bribery, but it's at the end of the session that they get it. So
that's so great. So
they have to hold it together.
It's incentive. And it also gives you that like factor for them because they know they're going to get something from you. So I actually do the same thing, except I just never told them about it until the end of the session. I would give it to them and it was normally something that
like
they could do because they were going to, but I think it's even better to do it at the beginning because it is something you're holding over their head.
I will say that I don't bring it out unless I have to bring it out. So that's another thing that's it's not like from the beginning of the session, I'm like, you get this prize at the end. I only bring that out. Like, I want it to be a surprise at the end because I do love to surprise and delight them and their parents. But sometimes you've got to just bring it out because you need it. You're pulling out the big guns there,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So,
one of the last things that I'll say is why did I not have this? I have my session bag. It's like, why don't we have anything? I've got my session bag, and in my session bag, I've got a couple different little things in there for the kids. And again, I pull them out as needed. And so sometimes I've actually met the kids before and I know what they like. Sometimes I've never met them at all. I've got a book in there and the book is just really great for the family to get acquainted and talking and kind of touching and more comfortable with the camera next to each other without having to actually look at the camera. And it's a super fun book that I have. It's Don't Let the Pigeon Ride the Bus or Drive the Bus. And so in it, they're going, no. So it's a really quick read because there's nothing worse than a family being totally into a story and then you being like, okay, we're done. Let's move on. It's a quick read and it's funny. So it gets everybody kind of engaged and laughing. And it's an easy enough book that if they're like a first grader, they could read it. Some other things that I have in there are little toys that make noise. Little stuffed animals. So if I've got a like little one, I can put it up here or put it on my head. It's flat. So I can lay it on my head and everybody laughs about that. And then one of the things that I have, this is what I started doing actually only about 1.5 years ago. This is for older kids who kind of have an attitude coming into it, like maybe the preteen or teenagers who are like, I do not want to be here. I do the, would you rather books, and there are some dirty would you rather books I like.
I have would you rather cards. I never thought of using those.
Yeah, so get the book. This one was created by youth ministry, so it's totally clean.
Good.
And then I've dog-eared some of the best ones.
Nice.
And I have the teenager read those would you rathers, and that just kind of gets everybody laughing and gets them in a good mood to be able to do this photo session.
Right. Perfect. That's a great idea. Didn't think of that.
So, okay, what are some of your ideas that you do in order to get the kids warmed up to you or maybe out of a bad mood?
Do you ever feel like a circus clown?
Do you ever feel crazy?
Yes, crazy.
Sometimes that's what it takes to get good pictures. Tell us in the comments below some of your ideas.
Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye. Okay.